Good morning, people. Oh no, oh yeah, it's still good morning, 11 a.m. And I'm in the Aston Martin DBS Superleggera. No sports mode, anything, just standard D, normal mode. 5.2 V12 twin turbo, the new engine from Aston Martin. And then with 900 Newton meters of torque. Okay, that's enough. Man. Of course, you'll be saying like 5.2 V12, shouldn't it be making more? No, that's enough. 715 horsepower, 900 Newton meters. And what's amazing just now, I can hear the car sucking in air. And that's quite a sensation. Alright, this is their flagship. Is basically a Super GT 2+2. Kids or dogs behind, strictly, no adults. And it's extremely comfortable. And I like the way it rides. See, I driven the GDC 4 Lusso the other day, both versions, be it the V12 or the V8, right? That car, even though it's supposed to be a competitor or of sorts, but that car is a very light front end and it gives you that very nervous feeling. This one doesn't. Just now, straight out of that petrol station with my steering wheel on an angle, it's very planted. It doesn't affect how the steering steers. Basically like a bullet train. This is a hyper ballistic intercontinental car, right? You can churn miles and miles of it. And if you join enduro with this type of car, brilliant, right? Because we can do 1000 km all the way to Phuket in absolute comfort, right? So yeah, I think one of the, of course, everybody hops up a supercar like this, and then the first thing you do is just go full throttle, and then you talk about how it handles and all that on the track and all that. But to be honest, you only do that kind of stuff in your first month of ownership, maybe, or second month after it's run it. But most of the time, you want a car that is comfortable. You want a car that you can have a conversation in the car, even a soft conversation in the car. And this is how it is. And a lot of GT cars, they're massive. They need that road presence, and sometimes it's a bit overwhelming to drive slow. But this one is just really nice, and the visibility I was surprised by the visibility. At first, I came into the car, and I sit rather low, and I felt the whole cowl, the whole front hood, everything is really high. And I thought I can sit low because I'm 5'11", right? But after I sat in there, I'm like, no, this car can take really huge Caucasian adults. So I actually lifted the seat, and then now this is perfect. This is just perfect. I have about, an inch of headroom or two. That means this car is comfortable to drive like that. And if you don't need that sort of visibility when you enter a track, you can lower yourself down to accommodate your helmet. Right? You can have your helmet and lower yourself down in the car, and then you enjoy your track day, because this is a performer. This is not just a GT car, right? With a lot of horsepower. And I like the way it's able to just trundle along like this. Right? A lot of big engine cars. See, I'm a 6th gear, and at 1,250 RPM, going 60, the whole thing is just alright. It doesn't. If I were to do the same thing in a 4-liter V8, you can feel that kind of. The car will be like, you either go in a lower gear or you go a little bit faster for it to go smooth. But being a V12 with 12 cylinders, they're smoothly moving the car is effortless. Anyone who have driven a large engine car with multiple cylinder count will understand this. The way big engine cars do slow driving sometimes is more impressive than when they do fast driving. So that's the allure of a V10 or V12 car, because they have so much torque that doesn't need RPM to compensate. By itself, there's so much heavy metal going on, moving the drivetrain, moving the car. It feels so smooth, and that's a very nice sensation. That is also the reason why people do not like the BMW i8, a supercar with a 3-cylinder petrol engine, buzzing there is just not a nice sensation. Even though I applaud BMW for their technological breakthroughs or the sheer audacity of doing that, right? And big engine cars. But of course, in Malaysia, everybody will be thinking, 5 litre, 6 litre, you're gonna suffer with the road tax and all that. But I myself has conditioned my mind over the past few months. Sorry for that. Alright guys, see you there. So I myself has been pondering with the idea of buying a large engine car. I checked out a 5 litre RS6 the other day, V10. It's just brilliant, right? And then of course I checked out a 4 litre V8 RS6 as well. I also checked out a 5.9 litre V12 Aston Martin Repeat, the used one, right? So throughout the past few months, I tried to convince myself, how can I rationalize our ridiculous road tax? And I found a solution. So for those Dato, Datin, you guys have no problem paying all this. Alright, you don't need to even bother what I'm about to say here. What I'm about to say here is for those middle of the road people like me, someone like me. I have a 6 Series, which is 3 litre, I have an Audi which is 3 litre, and a Volvo XC90 2 litre and all that. Sometimes we want to make the plunge, right? We saw a 5 litre V10 M5 or an old Ferrari 575 Maranello. It's like, 400k, I can afford it, but the road tax, how can I condition my mind to absorb this? Let me tell you my method, okay? So first thing you do, you open a bank account, a separate one, and then you set an auto debit from your current bank account to that bank account of about 50 ringgit every day, or 100 ringgit every 2 days, right? And your bank will automatically just put in 50 every day. By year end, you will have 18,000, which you forgot about it, right? Because honestly speaking, if you are around this level, 50 ringgit per day is negligible, right? You wouldn't even realize. And there you go, that's your road tax. And if you stay in a condo, like myself, I stay in a condo, I rarely go to my swimming pool, but my maintenance fee is 900 ringgit a month. 900 ringgit a month, and it will end up about 10,800 a year. And what is that for? Right? So paying road tax on a car like that you would eventually use it every day, is more worthwhile than paying your condo maintenance, to be honest. Because if I were to swim twice a month, every time I jump into the pool, it's 450 ringgit. So yeah, this is how I condition my own mind to accept, okay, now I have a way to make sense of a 5 or 6 litre car, and it's acceptable. Of course, for the rich guys who can buy this kind of car new, to them maybe it's nothing much. Alright? And put that out of the question, how is this car? No problem. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna continue with some photo shoot. So yeah, man, this car is absolutely beautiful from outside, and I like the modern interiors. Of course, now with some of the Mercedes stuffs coming in here, that means Aston Martin can have some modern infotainment system, and even the Vantage can have the best turbocharged V8 out there, which is the 4 litre V8 from Mercedes-Benz. That has to be the best, and I applaud car makers for doing this type of smart decisions. Like I think I'm the only media out there who said that what Toyota is doing with BMW for the Supra is a smart decision. It's a clever decision, because put it this way, making this kind of cars, right, is costly. keeping them up to date is costly as well. And a car maker like Aston Martin, if they were to spend their resources unnecessarily on this type of infotainment system and all that, right, they might have to give up on some other aspects, right, because they are a small company to begin with. So I really like what they are doing now, so that they know that they can survive, they can make money, and then they can continue making great products. So I really have to applaud Andy Palmer for bringing Aston Martin, get it listed, make sure it's profitable, so that this company can continue to exist and then make great products. Unlike the turmoil eras under Ford or the uncertainty and all that. And you look at some car companies, they were stubborn and they couldn't make themselves profitable, and at the end of the day, gone, right? And Aston has been making greater and greater products, right? So, if I were to conclude my slow driving on highway, it's more it's more assuring to drive than the GTC4 Lusso, this car. And as a turbocharged, if I were to compare this par on par with another turbocharged engine from Ferrari, the V8 turbo, Ferrari V8 turbos, I don't know what's wrong with them. They have no sound. There's no sound coming out of the exhaust, and it's a huge anticlimax when you drive those cars. Of course, their V12 sounds great, right? But if Aston was able to make great sounds while being turbocharged, why can't Ferrari do that? So if you ask me which one I'm more satisfied in driving, I would say this one is more satisfied to drive than the GTC4 Lusso. But of course, I love the GTC4 Lusso because it is so achingly beautiful, and it's a shooting brake, a very unique thing. And of course, the rear seats of the GTC4 Lusso is completely usable. But is this comparable to a GTC4 Lusso? Many people will say no, this is supposed to compete with the F12, with the 812 Superfast. Alright, so I haven't driven the 812 Superfast, can't make my judgment there, but I would say both of these cars, or these kind of cars, are worth celebrating to have, right? And I'm approaching Genting soon. I hope the traffic is clearer for me to drive a little bit faster later. Alright, so yeah, brilliant interior, comfortable. Let's see how it drives, let's see how it pulls. And of course, like I said many times, I'm not a professional racing driver, I'm not Alex Young and all that. I won't go too crazy on these type of roads. I'm just gonna maybe push a little bit if I have the room. If not, I don't want to end up with 2 million or 3 million ringgit debt. Alright, let's see. We're gonna approach there now. TJ is still filming me, and I see a bus, I see some other stuff in front. Let's see how. Alright. Yeah, there's a bunch of traffic up there. Try and overtake that. That will be my primary goal. Not going too crazy. It's a dry day today, so the weather is not damp. That's a good thing. Lorry gets out of the way. Of course, the Saga will want to overtake the lorry first before the Saga let me go, because he's been waiting behind the car for so long. He's not going full throttle yet. Thank you, sir. You are a fine gentleman. Yep, the gear shifts was a bit savage. I like that. I no longer like those smooth shifting transmission that felt like video games, even though they are efficient, effective, and actually really good. I'm feathering the throttle. That's how powerful this car is. I'm not even pressing down the throttle too much. And the gears shift down by themselves. 4th gear here. That's the thing. The transmission mapping needs to be, of course. I did not shift it into sports mode whatsoever. I like to test cars the way they are, and so far what I felt just now was that the shifts are a bit aggressive, I would say, and the grip is excellent. These tires, the width of the tire, the way it pulls down power is brilliant. 4th gear, are you serious? Let's put it down to the 3rd. I don't want that shift shock just now, because even though I say I like it, but sometimes it scares me a little bit, or it might throw me off my trajectory. And of course, this is not 7 a.m. 7 a.m. I'll get a lot of leeway. I get less cars. I can push it a little bit more. But this is 11 a.m. traffic, and we get traffic, loads of it. Come on, Vios, give me some room. Thank you. Now, I no longer like pedals that are mounted on the column. I prefer them to be mounted on the steering wheel. But of course, the argument is that you do not change gears while turning. But one thing that's good with this is that the pedals are really long, so I can still reach for it, right? And the shift shock would also mean that I shouldn't be shifting gear middle of a corner. And this car pulls really hard, and I love the sound. I love the sound. Damn. Excusez-moi. It's very assuring. It's not the type where it makes you feel unnerving. You have a good steering weightage there. To make sure this car, no, you won't come into my lane. It's alright. Hello, little mini. Oh, the way this car sucks in air there just now is lovely. Very nice. For the size of the car, it's precise. It's nice. Basically, you don't feel the heft when you're doing left, right. And while you're cornering, you can even, the visibility is so good that I can put my wheel closer to the white strip or nearer to the divider because the visibility is just good. And it responds immediately. This car drives really well. I think I prefer the way this car drives more than the DB11. DB11 feels a little bit light at speed. This one doesn't. That's very nice. Oh, this is my favorite stretch. Please, motorcycle, get out of my way, please. Oh, damn. You piece of shit. Oh, man. Yep. Favorite stretch. A V12 supercar's favorite stretch was ruined by a Prius. What better story to tell? You piece of shit. So you can put it so near to the wall. Very, very good. I haven't even heard the tires squealing yet because it's just so grippy. And the white line, brake, in we go. Oh, this car is lovely, man. It's easy to drive without feeling that it's numb. No, it's not. It's just right. It is just right. And that's what we want from a GT car. It's very, very comfortable. And when the roads open up, you give it a little bit of fun driving. It rewards you with sound. It cocoons you in comfort. You can still listen to your music if you want to. And then you chase away poor people. Sorry for that, but it's fun to have. Yeah. Lovely. Oh, I would happily give way to a loud, blaring supercar coming from behind. Oh, lovely. And for those of you who buy these cars out there, thank you so much. You make our cities beautiful, right? If I come out and all I see are those econo boxes, my day will be more dull. I won't feel as compelled to want to work hard to make my life better, right? But when I came out and then I saw these supercars running around, these Datins and Datos driving your Aston Martins, your Lamborghini Urus. Makes my day better. I can share pictures to my friends, and we can both dream that one day the Alza will give way to me. One day! Yeah. Yeah. It's always lovely to be behind the wheel of these cars. And if you guys have the chance, you may not be able to afford the car, but if you have the chance to drive one of these, it's okay to have that cunning smile when you chase poor people off the fast lane. My turn. Then when you return the car, when someone comes from behind, you let them go, right? Yeah. Yeah. We Malaysians are nice people. Yeah. Alright man, this is a lovely, lovely car. The sound is great. And I think it's not as common as some other brands, right? And again, if someone asks you what car you drive, Ferrari, they will ask you which Ferrari. If someone asks you what car you drive, you say Aston Martin. Their first reaction is, oh man, that's nice. Yeah, that's the thing. Cheers guys. Hi guys. Just now all of them were standing there, and then I said, move away poor people. I like to tell this joke whenever I drive a supercar, a really expensive car, and I think all of us should try it, right? Because we cannot afford these kind of cars, but when we get to drive it, we will shout in the car, move away poor people. Yeah. Alright, it feels really good to have the opportunity to drive a supercar. Let me tell you that first. And it feels even better when it is something so special. Alright, this is the DBS Superleggera. Yes, Superleggera means lightweight, but of course this is by no means a lightweight track machine, right? This is a fantastic super cruiser. If something can cross continentals in a fast manner, it's called an intercontinental ballistic missile, then this is an intercontinental ballistic car. Yep. I'm so happy to have driven this. Yes, it took me some time because earlier on I drove the GTC4 Lusso, which is a car that I really love, but it's very scary to drive because that car was set up with a very light front end and it feels very nervous, very pointy. Yes, that is classic Ferrari type of handling characteristics, but I think that doesn't fit the profile of a Super GT. And then I drove the DB11, which is considered a Super GT as well, but a smaller one, lesser horsepower than this. That one too suffered from, maybe I was wrong using the word suffer, but it also has that characteristic of a very light front end that changes direction really fast, and then that will result in not being able to drive at highways at the kind of crazy pace, mileage chewing kind of drive, basically crossing continentals. Alright, but this one, I'm so happy to report it is brilliant. First of all, in the cities, as I rolled out from KL downtown, it's comfortable across all the bad roads and all that. And then when I got up the highway, oh my, this one is such a joy to drive. Alright, 5.2 V12 twin turbo. Even though there's a turbo, it still makes beautiful sounds. And this is something that Ferrari should address, because I don't care what journalists, everybody was saying, but the V8 turbo, the turbo V8 of Ferraris, the 3.9 V8 turbo, just doesn't sound good. It basically, there's no sound, be it in the 488 or in the Portofino or in the GTC4 Lusso T. They don't sound good. But this one, even though it's a turbocharged 5.2 V12, it sounds brilliant. Fantastic sound as you blare down the highway. Alright, and in extreme comfort, super stability. It is the kind of car that you can go 250 km/h, 280 km/h, 300 km/h in absolute ease, right? The brakes are bitey, the visibility is excellent. It's just a fantastic GT car. And then when it goes to the twisties, the whole car just shrinks as you go left and right, you know. It's just fantastic. So I'll give you some comparison here. Of course, by price point, the AMG GTR is of course incomparable to this, right? But the AMG GT or GTR or GTS, right? The AMG GT has a very nervous ride. The front end isn't as lightweight or nerve-wracking, but the ride is busy in the AMG, right? Same goes with the Supra we drove a few days earlier on. Of course, cannot be compared again, different price point, but what I'm talking about is not the selling price because of brand, because of material and all that. It's about how it was set up. This is set up perfectly because it is comfortable, it can do its cornering, and it can do high-speed cruising, low-speed driving. Now the advantage of a V10 or V12 large displacement car with multiple gear ratios is that you can be traveling along in the city going 50-60 km/h in your 7th gear, in your 6th gear, without the car feeling as though it wants you to give it a little bit more rev, without the car feeling it wants you to go a little bit faster. As I was doing that just now, right, I was merely at 1,200 RPM, but the car feels smooth as ever. Why? Because of its multiple cylindrical counts, because of its large displacement. Right? It is such a joy to drive. All right. So give you a little bit of let you look in detail on the design. There's a very long front overhang if you look at it. So this is the center of the front track, all right, the front, the wheelbase basically. From here to the end of that splitter is about 1 meter. So it has a very long front overhang, but it doesn't seem like it because the whole profile is rounded, extremely rounded to this pointy front, and then it goes back. So visually from here it looks like it has a short front overhang, right? But actually it really comes up to its most extreme here. All right, of course, the lovely Aston Martin logo, the lovely headlamps without additional nonsensical weird designs. I like this type of clean designs. Of course, new Astons, they have all the vents, you know, the intakes and all that, but they're all real and it's for performance, so it's alright. But of course, I personally love clean designs. I think this one strikes a really good balance, okay? This one, where it channels air out of the wheel well to reduce the temperature inside there. It also reduces the air pressure inside there. They all channel out this way. And just now, I was cleaning little pebbles. You can see some of them here, little stones, because this tire is so sticky. Not only it sticks up all the little stones and all that, it throws them out through here. Something awesome to take care of after a nice drive, right? These are the things that makes a car give you the kind of feel that it has special characters. All right, so look at this extremely huge discs, crazy stuff. Okay, now the rim, there are of course various designs. Some people love sporty designs like this. I would think that this rim is a little bit too aggressive for this car. I think this car deserves a more cleaner look sort of rim. This one looks rather aftermarket here actually. It's very, very aggressive. Alright, and then you have the clean side profile with the hidden door handles over here, and then this is the magic where Aston Martin, I think two car makers deserve applause here. Aston Martin and Ferrari, right? They, if they could, they would try not to have all those ugly splitters, little winglets and all that. You know, they always manage their aerodynamic with amazing design, airflow design basically, right? Air would come in here, channel through the hollow carbon fiber boot lid, and then it comes out from here with the aid of this. This one, the air comes down here, pushes up, push the car down, and then additional air will come up from here again to aid airflow and push the thing down. Alright? It's really nice. Let me try. Is there an opening down here? I believe. Nope. Let me open the door. I would really want to show you guys the boot. Yep. Let me show you the boot. It's very lightweight because, look at that. It's carbon fiber. It's carbon fiber. The whole thing is carbon fiber. So the air that channels in through here comes out through here, goes into here. Look at this. And then inside the boot lid, coming out here. How ingenious is that? When it comes to sophistication of design, I really think that the Brits are some of the best. Okay, compared to the likes of the F12, this one has a very, very tiny boot because it is a boot, whereas the F12 is a hatch. So I think in that respect, F12 hit a nice balance, because the F12, they did a really nice deck lid over here, covered in leather with straps and all that. You can strap your stuff at the back there. But of course, this car was designed to have space for you to either put a tiny human being or some of your stuffs. Alright? And then of course the benefit of having an enclosed area for its cabin and the rear boot would be better sound insulation. Okay, Aston Martin can do that because their exhaust sounds really, really good. Alright, and of course an Aston Martin would mean the entire interior is finished in really, really good materials. But this spec is interesting because this particular car and its specifications has one goal in mind: understated. Alright. For those of you who own a Mercedes-Benz, you'll be very familiar with this sight, right? Gloss black in your center console, right? Now, gloss black or piano black starts from what? Piano makers use wood, high quality wood, to finish their pianos. And then they use a very deep gloss lacquer, black lacquer, to cover it. So there's zero indication here that this is a piece of wood, beautiful solid wood, alright, because it was finished in such a manner. And then how to differentiate between a plastic gloss black material and a wood gloss black material? Plastic attracts static electricity and there'll be a lot of dust. That's different with wood. Wood will not have that. And then these materials are all painted, right? The door handles are all painted. It sort of looks like plastic until you touch them. Oh man, this is one solid piece of milled aluminium. Very, very nice material. The only materials that doesn't look good on this car are these little chrome plastics that in this new generation Aston Martins, they seem to litter around the cabin. Here, some of it here, right? This just doesn't, this is metal, I think, but the finishing on top feels very plastic chrome. Okay, and then here, all these switches are plastics and they don't exactly feel good to the touch. And of course this thing comes from Mercedes-Benz. And then these buttons, you see these buttons are metal. These are metal, but it's how they painted it, right? It makes you feel that you're touching plastics, but actually these are nice solid materials. But the whole goal of this car, it seems like, is to hide its quality materials. I do not know why, but then nevertheless it is a fantastic new generation interior. And I would say that the design of this interior is actually rather you have the classic Aston Martin sort of waterfall kind of dash design, you know, very central, so that they can do left-hand drive, right-hand drive without using too much cost to have differentiation. And then they have some nice touches.
Alright, look at this one, the armrest, the beautiful armrest with a mechanical, with a mechanism that opens it up. Remember I mentioned to balance between having a large console box area and the solidity of the console box itself is a challenge to car makers, right? They can make a large compartment, but how do you ensure the rigidity and the strength of that conveys the message of a high quality interior? And Aston Martin is very upfront about it. Basically, this is a strut bar for the center armrest console. Yep, this is to strengthen these two parts. Alright, nothing to shy about. It's proper engineering. Alright, and then we have, okay, why don't I start the car? It's getting a little bit warm here. Okay, press the brakes. This thing will start to light up in red, and these crystal buttons looks really good. Start the car. Oh, just listen to it. Alright, just listen to it. Another thing that Aston Martin does amazing is that notice how the door slants up. That means if you are parked next to some curbs, regardless of how high the curb is, be it 1 feet, you'll be able to clear it. And the other thing is this is something that poor people like us won't get to experience. Right? You move the door here, you let go of your hand, it stays there. You move your door here, you let go, it stays there. It is just fantastic. Even here. Wait. Oops. Okay, this is the last gap. But the thing is this, it doesn't have any juddering steps. It's smooth all the way until you let go, it stays there. You let go, it stays there. That is just fantastic. Alright? Whew, lovely. And then of course this being a Super GT, look at that. Double ply glass, okay? And inside here, of course, you are surrounded by leather, wood, aluminium, Alcantara. All these really expensive materials are in the car. Okay, of course, frameless rear view mirror. Of course, you get that, and then this lovely leather Alcantara or nubuck leather, whichever type. All right, and you have the mirror in there, and then even this. Look at the hinge. Even the hinge is finished in solid metal. Lovely. That's what I love about Aston Martin interiors. And then look at the roof. This one doesn't have any panel or sunroof and all that, but the way they stitched it is just exquisite. Right. Even this little small part is finished in leather. This is real aluminium, and then this is leather. Even the screen is wrapped in leather. It's just so nice. The only thing that's not nice are these, like I mentioned just now. This doesn't feel Aston. Right. So yep, that's the beautiful interior of this beautiful car. As you can see, no normal size human beings can fit at the back there, apart from a toddler. And if a toddler sit there, she or he would rather be not very comfortable, because it wouldn't be able, she won't be able to see out of there. Alright, so that is strictly a 2+2 with a seat belt, and for little kids at the back there, when you need to move them around, they won't enjoy the drive. Don't bring them for a drive. Alright, yep, that's the interior of this car. Lovely car. And then of course, it sounds really good. Okay, here you can adjust the suspension setting. Alright, Sport Plus, but I like the normal suspension. And then here, the other modes, GT, Sport mode, you can hear a deeper tone from the exhaust. Yep, let me show you the differences. I'm now in Sport Plus, okay? Okay, I go to Sport, normal GT mode. Even though it doesn't have the crackles, it still makes a nice revving sound. That's what I like about it. Alright, so yep, that's the Aston Martin DBS Superleggera. If you like this car, like I do, please prepare 3 million ringgit if you want to drive it in Semenanjung. and half of that put it in Langkawi, and every year you get 90 days. Alright, I would suggest everybody to pay the full 3 million and drive it in Semenanjung so that you contribute taxes to the government. Or you can look at a friend's car. Oh, you bought a new car, a new Panamera. Nice. How much was it? 1.4 million. Ah, that's the same amount of tax I paid for my Aston Martin. That tells you a lot on how many levels are there. Alright, so yep, this is the new generation Aston Martin. I personally prefer the older generation knobs and dials and all that instead of all this touch sensitive high-techery material, high-tech stuffs. I prefer the solid buttons, but then we have to progress, right? It's technology, up to each to his own. And yep, that's the new DBS Superleggera. I think this is the kind of car whereby the exterior is the one that makes you feel like, yes, I made it in life. I own something like that, and get to see it every day. You park your car, you turn back and look at your car, right? And this is the kind of car as well that where the design will be timeless, right? Aston Martin designs rarely goes out of style because they have stayed true to what they represent all along. In fact, look at the new Ferrari Roma. It looks exactly like an Aston Martin. Alright, cheers guys. And if you like the stuff that I do, I've done more than 1,000 videos in the past 3 years. Yep. And you can go to my channel and search my stuffs and all that. Alright, take care.